Hi, I'm Neave and I'm here at Barnyarns and I'm really excited to show you the Pfaff Admire Air 5000 Overlocker. It's very easy to use. Some of you have been scared of overlocking in the past, but there's no need to be scared at all. It threads like a dream. I'm going to take you through a little bit about overlocking, especially for those of you that don't know very much about it and don't know whether to buy one. So here we go. So when your overlocker comes to you, it's going to be threaded up with a small amount of thread, and of course you'll need to buy threads to go with it. So let's look at the overlocker in more detail, see what you get out of the box. First of all, this needs to come up. This is your Earth to Mars antenna, and you'll pull that up and your threads will be attached here. It comes threaded with red, blue, green and yellow thread, and that's to do with what each of the things does on the overlocker, which I'll go through in a moment. We've got here Madeira thread. It's a really nice thread that I like to use, which is called Aerolock. Very fine, very good for your projects that you're doing. The thread's going to come up here and then down, because your threads have to come up from a cone. But it's a good idea to buy yourself a cone of red, blue, green and yellow thread, just in case you have tension problems and you're not quite sure what bit does what. So while we're on the top of the overlocker, let's have a look at this dial here. And this dial is your pressure on the presser foot. Exactly the same as your sewing machine. You might want more pressure for some fabrics and less pressure for others. Personally, I always leave mine on normal because it's always worked perfectly on that for me. You'll put the cone on the back of the machine. It will go up into here, come down. It'll go into this thread guide here and come down through the tension discs. Then it will come into the overlocker down here, and I'll thread this up in a moment, and go through the system. What's exciting about this overlocker is it doesn't matter what order you thread the overlocker in. For years I've taught overlocking and had to go over and over and over about you must thread it in from this order to this order. And on this overlocker it really doesn't matter. You can have your needles threaded, which I've already got them threaded here, and you can still thread the looper threads with your needles threaded, and that is magic. So let's have a look at the needles. The needle thread comes down here, down, round, over here, and then down into the needles. And we've even got a fabulous needle threader that automatically threads both the needles. So I've got my thread here. I need to leave quite a tail here, and I'm just pushing the end of the thread into this little hole here. Once the thread is in here, this is where the magic happens, because that thread's going to come through here. It's coming through this looper here, the lower looper. Pay close attention. And there's the thread. So all I need to do now is just clip that thread. It can stay inside there. I don't have to do anything with it at all. And now I'm going to thread the upper looper. And the upper looper is exactly the same as we've done, only this time I need to put that to the upper looper. And this is the upper looper here. So a little bit of thread, push that down into the hole, a couple of inches. And here we see the magic again. And watch this here. Did you get that, everybody? Okay, so now our overlocker is threaded, ready to go. Just before we close everything up, we do need to set it to sewing, because at the moment it's on the threading mechanism. And once I set it to sewing, you can see here how the tubes open up and the threads inside the tubes there. So that's the threading done. Before we close the overlocker up and I show you different things on it, I'm just going to say about the threads. The threads that we're using here are the overlock threads by Madeira. It's called Aerolock, my favourite. And at the moment, you actually get this pack that comes with the overlocker, and that's well worthwhile having. So here we go. I'm going to close this up now. Very easy. You'll note that in actual fact, the overlocker won't work with this open, so it's a safety feature. So let's have a look at what else you've got on it. You've got a dial at the side, which is your hand wheel. You've got a stitch length dial, and you've got a differential feed dial as well. Right, so it's good that we've got the added safety feature of the overlocker not working when the door's open, because here we've got the knife here, the top knife and the lower blade, and we don't want anybody trapping their fingers in here and ending up in A&E, do we? So while we're on the subject of the knife, I'll show you how to remove the knife. There's a little wheel here, and if I turn that round, the knife goes down. If I turn it again, the knife will come back up into play like that. It's very rare that you sew without the knife. You will see that when I'm showing the accessory feet that we may remove the knife for certain actions, but normally your knife's there all the time. So we're all ready to go, ready, set, to go, and we're going to do 4 thread overlocking. When you get to the end of overlocking, you've got to just chain off and then use the cutter here to cut your thread. And probably one of the final things to tell you about this overlocker is this lovely feature here. You'll be seeing this in some of the videos that I've done about the accessory feet, and we can turn the lower looper tension here immediately tight by pushing that to there for when we're doing rolled hemming. So you've probably learned a lot about overlocking and the Pfaff Admire Air 5000 as well, and we've got some very exciting news for you because Barnyarns is going to be running classes here in their studio, and I'm very, very pleased that they've asked me to come up and do the overlocking classes for them, and so I hope to see you there soon.